What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of SSPN Live after the Spurs' first preseason game against the Rockets. I don't even know the score, but it's close to a 40-point blowout. Yes, 38-point blowout, 134 to 96. It's the tank Spurs, Ethan. What are your first impressions of them?
Oh boy, dude. Okay. Two things can be true at once. We're going to be really bad. Let's get that out of the way. We're going to be really
Right,
bad.
right.
But I also don't think we're going to be this bad. Like there were a lot of, just miscommunication things, a lot of rotations that aren't going to actually, be there when the regular season comes. Obviously, Keldon didn't play, and neither did Joshua Primo or even Gorgie Jang, and like Devin only played 19 minutes. Like all those things are true, but at the same time, you're right. This is going to be a rough season from start to finish. Lottery, here we come. Number one pick. It's time.
Ethan, I actually wrote down some takeaways, but I
Mhm.
left them in my living room. So I'm going to go ahead.
Oh, he just bolted.
Well, no, I'm still here. I was gonna say I'm gonna leave it to you. I'm gonna run back and go get those real quick.
Yeah, go do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All right. So let's do let's do the good first. I do think a couple people played well. I thought Devin showed some aggression that I hadn't seen in the past couple of years. It looked like he was in fact stronger, taking it to the hole. Obviously, he missed 6 3-pointers, but again, the rough night shooting. I think that might just be it's been a long time since we played. Uh, oh, you're back already, Jude?
Oh yeah, man. We got the notes with us too.
I was literally just saying this. Let's start with the good, just so we can get that out of the way because there's so few good. So,
Oh
like
my gosh. What'd you say?
I said, Devin, he looked a little bit more aggressive. I know he missed 6 threes, which is bad, but first game back preseason, not playing with the
The whole
usual
team was missing
guys.
shots because it's
Yeah,
a
it's
brand
just
new
a
team.
rust thing, and we're away. It's just one of those things. Preseason jitters. So I'm not worried about that. I thought Jakob played a pretty good game, despite being minus 11 in the plus minus. I don't know why that is because he was efficient, got rebounds, played good defense in limited play time. Obviously, Malachi brought him. He played phenomenally, in my opinion. He was very aggressive. He looked very controlled. He was able to get to his spots with ease and knock down some easy jumpers when we needed buckets the most. When we were down by like 40 points at one point. And Isaiah Roby, I thought he was very efficient as well. He looked ready. He didn't look lost at all, like pretty much everybody else on the team did. Um, Fluid jump shot, pretty good. Putting the ball on the floor defensively, he did not look as bad I thought or I worried that he might look. Able to play the 4 and the 5, which is obviously very nice. You can kind of put Sohan in there. He played pretty solid defense. Put the ball on the floor, but overall, a little underwhelming. But that was everybody. Nobody played, really, really well.
Yeah, I think this was just a good dose for everybody to just
Mm.
remind us, like, it's
We're
tank
not
season
ready. Yeah.
once again, right? And
Mm.
so I think the key thing here, there's a lot of key things. One, the Rockets just have a lot more talent than us.
Oh
That's
yeah.
that's that's first off, right? Whether it's Josh Christopher on the bench or freaking Jabari Smith Jr., who's the number 3 pick on top of Jalen
He
Green.
looks good, dude. He looks
Right,
really good.
right, right. And then I'm forgetting somebody else. I don't know. Sengun's still out there.
Hmm.
But Kevin Porter Jr. That was
Yeah.
the other one, right? So they're going to be better than the Spurs this year, at least in my opinion. Um, what was I going to say? Yeah. So, there's the key thing. This is what I was getting back to, right? Jay Rich is usually going to be off the bench because when you have Keldon in there, that's probably going to move Devin to the 2, right? And see, yeah, you had the same thought in your brain because
Hmm.
that kind of makes everything like a little bit more wacky when it comes
Yeah.
to putting in guys that don't have experience. And then on top of that, you add in Primo, which I think the way that they ran the rotations tonight, I think it all but confirmed that Primo is going to play point guard. Um, I don't, unless like we're gonna move Doug to the 4, which I don't think is gonna happen. That's another thing, which I
Hmm.
like. I think just you mentioned Isaiah Roby kind of all over the place right now, just with all of the different things that happened in the game. But when you talk about him, yeah, defensively, you mentioned how he was better than you thought defensively, and that was kind of the first thing that I noticed. Everybody gets got every once in a while he had some plays like that. But for the most part, overall, he, switchable. It can kind of play, he can play in the paint and play post defense, but he's also not a potato on the perimeter. It's
Mhm.
everything that we've been asking for really out of a four over the past couple years. And I thought it was really interesting how they ran Sohan kind of at the three a
Yeah, that was
couple
strange.
times. I wasn't expecting that, but it's kind of funny because I played a Spurs my league the other day, like the first time on 2K23, and
Yeah.
his position is listed as power forward slash small forward. And so, you know,
Mm.
obviously 2K is not the end all be all, but sometimes it does tell
Yeah.
you things. And, his shot definitely still needs some work, but it can go in.
He hit one.
So right, yeah. And the thing about him is even if he's not really like as often, I mean, it doesn't matter this year in the context of the season, but even if he's not like as offensively skilled as you'd like for a three, if you want to throw out some lineups like that, especially with injuries and stuff, like you might as well, because he can at least, he's a solid, I mean, he's an all around great defender. I mean, maybe not great right now, but he has the potential to be there. The foundation, he's solid on the perimeter and he's solid inside. Um, I would say, and he's, because of his frame and just the way that he plays, he's more solid on the perimeter than like, say, Isaiah Roby, who I was mentioning earlier.
Mm. I think also he just has that desire, that fire to want to be good at defense. You saw that chase down block. Like it looked like to me, like oh, he has plenty of space. He's not going to chase us down, and he still got to it. He's really impressive, very long, very versatile. But did you notice, going back to your point about Josh Richardson coming in off the bench and being helpful in that aspect? We had a lineup at one point that was Trey Jones, Doug McDermott, uh, um, Jeremy
Sohan.
Sohan, Keita Bates-Diop, Zach Collins. And I was like, we just can't get a bucket because none of these guys can create their own shot at all. Like Doug's the only one that can shoot, but he can't create his own shot. Like he has to come off screens. And the Rockets were like, okay, we're just not going to let you give it to Doug McDermott and make somebody else beat us. And that just wasn't happening, especially when you have a boy Keita Bates-Diop going 0 for 3, 0 for 5 overall from the field. He looked terrible, Jude. I'm sorry, I like Keita Bates-Diop. I don't think this is a good representation of how he plays because he's always in the right place at the right
Well, we
time.
were kind of playing him at the three, and I
Yeah,
think we learned tonight that he is not that.
no, he is a 4 that just needs to set good screens, play solid, versatile defense, and be in the right place at the right time and not get in anybody's way.
And only
Like,
take wide open threes.
yes, he took 3, and they all 3 looked horrific. Like, oh my god, so difficult to
Yeah.
watch.
Even Roby missed a few, but like still
Mhm.
his shot just looked way more fluid, right?
Yeah. Oh, way more fluid. And speaking of fluidity in their shot, Romeo Langford literally hit the backboard, the side of the
Dude,
backboard.
I knew it was coming. Like I was, and then did you see he tried the contested three? Like I respect it. Like obviously you got to keep trying at some point.
Yeah,
Like if
but
you're Romeo and you're in his shoes, you have to keep trying. But I just knew, I was like, here comes the brick.
I just really wanted it to like at least hit rim. Like I was like, if it
The
kind of
second
gets
one looked
close,
better, and it's like that's not a good sign because that one was more
no.
contested.
Jesus. Yeah.
Oh,
Blake looked a little bit rough too. I think that was also just jitters plus kind of the
he's
speed
gonna,
ramp.
he's the third stringer. Like you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I could see that he was like the confidence was there, and he was like, "I'm just going to do exactly what I did in the summer league where I dominated." But it was like, no, these guys are at a different speed, different level defensively. They weren't going to let you, get too fancy with your handle. And he got caught off a couple times, picked his pocket. But that's bound to happen. I don't think this is not a
He's a
representation of.
teenager.
Yeah, he's 19, and that brings me to my other point that I forgot to bring up. Sorry, I feel like I'm
No,
rambling
you're
here, but
good. Keep going, man.
like you said, lots of stuff to talk about.
I got my
Um,
notes coming up after.
yeah. The continuity here between last year and this year, there is no continuity. DeJounte's gone. He was like our entire team. We bring in 3 rookies, 3 first round rookies. You elevate Trey Jones, who had not too many meaningful
Trigger
minutes last
Trey.
year. Trigger
The shot
Trey
looks better.
shot looks a little bit better. And you're elevating Wieskamp, who didn't play like at all last year. We're bringing in guys like Elise Johnson and Isaiah Roby. Like we have such a different roster this year. There was bound to be these miscommunications and these,
It's a brand new team.
yeah. There was no chemistry yet. But I think we'll get there. That's what preseason is for, so we can make these horrible mistakes. I don't know if you saw this or if you remember this. There was literally one point. It was Sohan and Keita Bates, I think, I think so. It's two guys that basically play 3 or 4 at all times, and they ran a play. Jakob was in the post, and it was supposed to be like a almost like a back screen. They're coming like left wing for a 3, and both of them ran it like they were in the same position, and they like
That
looked at
happened a
each
couple
other.
times.
Yeah,
That
they're like, "Are we both doing the same thing right now?" Like, come on, guys! Like, know where you were supposed to be.
oh, and Pop was a completely different demeanor. I mean,
Mhm.
he knows.
Yeah.
Like, it's so obvious he knows. Like, not only just from his pre-media stuff, but
Mhm.
like the way that he acted, it was like, even though it's like it's pretty much looks like it's his retirement season, like it was still so weird to like
Yeah.
not see Pop in his element. Cause even in the preseason games, like last season, like
Mhm.
where it was kind of, obviously you have an all-star DeJounte, which makes a big difference, right? Who's a veteran
Yeah.
who came in with Kawhi, played with Manu, all that stuff. But like still only 25 and like, still a pretty young team for the most part last year. And
Mhm.
it just like completely different. It was a stark contrast. It was so noticeable. Like after
Mhm.
we've grown up watching him our whole lives, and just to see him like really not even get upset at all, it was just
He
like,
stood up one time.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like what, dude? Oh my
It was like
gosh.
in the 4th quarter when somebody like cleared Sohan out, like obviously. He just stood up. He wasn't mad though. He just like walked up to the ref and he was like, "Did you not see that?" It's like, God, poor Pop. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. All right, well, I'll go through my notes here. So, the first thing that I noticed, the first thing I was kind of looking at was like, what in the heck are these rotations going to be, right?
Yeah.
And so I want to ask you. I know that they gave Roby a lot of run, like even at the end, and
Mhm.
maybe that was just because they saw the opportunity for a small ball lineup. But like, I really feel like he's the best. Yeah, it's one game, so
Yeah.
let me back up a little bit. But after tonight, which
Yeah.
means kind of take it with a grain of salt, he really looked like the best 4 out there. I know that
Mhm.
obviously Sohan is dynamic and has the much higher ceiling. But I mean Roby's still pretty young too, so I mean,
Mhm.
he's I don't know. I don't want to say like he's going to be, you know, the greatest power forward ever or something, but like cuz that's Tim Duncan.
Mhm.
But just by the way. No. But Isaiah Roby looked really solid tonight. I felt like he just and I mean it makes sense because Sohan's never had NBA minutes. Like he's actually played, even though it was a bad team, like he's actually played like consistent, like had a consistent role and a consistent rotation, on
Mhm.
a consistent rotation with the Thunder. So I felt like he looked like the best 4 tonight. And so I noticed he was the first sub, but then played later also with, kind of the younger guys. I guess my question is, do you kind of feel like he's still probably going to get those minutes? Or do you think that Pop's just going to be like, well, we're trying to lose anyway? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's so much to go over because it's like maybe you just play KBD just because you're trying to lose anyway. But I feel like that's not how they're going to do things if
Yeah.
this continues, like the play that we saw tonight, because like I don't know, I just feel like Roby's more dynamic than KBD. Like we've seen what KBD does. Like you know what I mean. KBD at his best
Mhm.
is like getting buckets, like literally like in the restricted area,
Mhm.
or shooting a wide open three, and then just playing solid defense.
Yeah.
Like where Roby has a much more pure shot. He can put the ball on the floor, and he's just like even though he plays the 4 like he's bigger than him. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like so he can do kind of what KBD does, but better.
He's more skilled for sure. I like Roby at the starting 4 more so than Keita Bates-Diop, and honestly, I like Sohan more than Keita Bates-Diop at,
Me
like, the
too.
backup 4.
Yeah, I agree.
Where Keita Bates gets a lot of brownie points is that he's a hard worker, Pop likes him, he's been with us for a while, he knows the system, and he's not gonna get in anybody's way, and we're trying to tank. So it's not like we're trying to win at this point, which he won't help us with anyway. But based on his performance tonight, like you said, preseason, I know, like, and
And
don't
one game.
and one game.
But we
But
did have like a whole 2 seasons of Kia debates,
yeah,
that we've seen.
this was the worst I've seen Base Diop tonight. Like
And it's
he
probably
was,
because he's been on it's the worst roster.
yeah, that's fair. It's a fair assumption, but I don't know, man. We'll have to see because I want to see Sohan and Roby with Devin and Jakob. Like Keita Bates basically got all the minutes with like the meaningful players tonight. I know we're
Yeah,
missing
Roby
Kelvin and
got
Primo.
some handful,
A
but yeah.
couple, and then Sohan didn't get like any, as far as I know,
Mhm.
unless I missed it. So
No,
I'd like to.
he did have he was out there. It was a very short sequence. He was out
Mm,
there with the starters. Like, it was the same lineup, just
mhm,
replaced Sohan with KBD, but it was like,
mm.
2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, I'd like to see that a little bit more because maybe we're just missing something. Maybe Keita Bates is the better option, but I know he played really, really poorly.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll probably rotate them for the rest of the preseason just to kind of see
Hmm.
what they've got. That was probably the point. Um,
Yeah.
but hopefully, hopefully, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I'm saying like hopefully Roby plays, but then I'm like, okay, but do we really want the better player out there?
No. Yeah, he'll play. I
And
don't
then
think Pop will. I don't think it will matter. Like he's better, but he's not going to win
you're
us more
right. That's
games.
that's the
Really.
point. That's
Yeah.
the point. But I'm with you. Like, I kind of what I thought going into it. I thought Keita Bates would be the third string, and that's what after this game, one game, I'd prefer that. Let's
Mhm.
see. What else do I got? So it was just interesting that Blake Wesley and Isaiah Roby were the first subs. We'll see if that
Mm.
continues. And I put next to Blake Wesley, I was like, the first thing I thought when he was the first sub, I was like, okay, this would have to be Primo, like
Yeah.
ideally. Like, I
Mm.
just don't, because the thing is, when you get Keldon back, that's gonna take away like a spot from Wieskamp basically, because Jay Rich will get moved down and he'll play the two.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like I just don't think we're gonna not play Primo and play Blake Wesley or Malachi at the point. Like, I don't see it, and there's no way that we're gonna like go with we're gonna put Doug back at the 4. I don't think that's gonna happen after what we saw tonight, which makes me happy.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just think it's as much as like I kind of get like people who are like, I don't want Primo to play the point because he kind of has that potential as like an outside shooter as well, and just has the size as well to kind of play that 2-3 position. But with all of the different guys we have and what we saw in Austin last year, it's just definitely going to be him as the backup point.
He's the only option. Nobody else, like you said,
Like,
other
we're not going to
than
play those rookies like
yeah, we're
regular
not playing
season.
Blake Wesley or Malachi
Yeah.
Branham. So it's either
They're
it's
going to
either
be in
Primo.
Austin. They'll play, but
Yeah, I mean maybe Jay Rich can help. Like we also talked about this in the off season. It's not like he's the only guy that's going to be bringing the ball up the floor.
right, because Jay Rich can do that too.
Jay Rich can do that. Sohan did that at Baylor. I don't
Shoot,
know if
right, and Roby might do it
he
sometimes.
did it a couple times
Right,
tonight.
that's what I'm saying.
It didn't look
Yeah.
bad either. Like he looked comfortable bringing
There
it
were
down the
some
floor. So
turnovers, but he has like you can tell he has the skill to do it. He actually has handles for a big man.
and Devin and Trey, same thing. They'll probably both take turns bringing it up the floor. Like Trey is definitely more of a field general in the classical sense of what a point guard is, but Devin is our best player. Like if you look at the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker brings it up probably just as much as CP3, but CP3 is the point guard. You know what I mean? So it's just that same situation.
What do you think of our man Mark's comment here for y'all listening on podcast? Mark says Blake Wesley's passing and vision is surprisingly good. For me, I mean, like after what we saw in summer league, I was impressed with him. I
Hmm.
honestly didn't really see that as much tonight, but I'm glad you saw it, Mark, because we need any positives we can get. But yeah, I mean, I don't think he really he did not tear up the stat sheet tonight. That's for sure. Let me see how many. So he got 21 minutes. Was able to find 4 assists throughout the night, which I think is solid considering the circumstances and the context of the team. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be a point guard on this roster.
Yeah, nothing was crisp, so it's hard to say. Like I remember one specific pass where the cut was a little late, and then he was also a little late on the pass, but it was the right idea. Like the guy was open for like a split second, but because everything was slightly, late, and the ball was, tipped away and it was a turnover. But like he's got the right idea. It's just a matter of cleaning all the, fine tuning everything and getting the chemistry down. You know what else I noticed that was really off and really, really crappy tonight, Jude? The dribble handoffs from our bigs are so bad. What happened? Like, why are they so bad at literally just
I
dribbling
think
the
it just
ball and
comes
handing it?
down to like once again it being a brand new team
I
and
guess, yeah.
like because it's still weird, but I don't know. I think at that point it's like with all the turnovers, it has to be chemistry. Like that's
Yeah,
the
we just need
only thing.
reps. Yeah.
Like that's the only thing.
Dude, it's just like
You okay?
that's our whole offense.
No,
Like pick and roll and
no,
dribble handoffs.
it was handoffs, and then like the one time that we did something else kind of with that. So we did a dribble handoff to Wieskamp, and then he hit Blake, I believe, on a cut inside. Which it's like, so that's basically all we do, and then like sometimes there were so many times like you said where we do whatever we did on offense. I don't even, because sometimes it was just so, like you said, uncrisp, like you didn't even know what we were doing sometimes. But
Mhm.
like there were multiple times where they'd be trying to swing it to somebody like at the end of the play, and there'd be two people there.
Yeah.
But they're
I
just
get
learning, like it's just a brand new everything, and it's basically a team full of teenagers. Like what? You got Jakob, who's 27, you got Jay Rich, who's 29, and then you got Doug, who's 30. Who
yeah.
who else am I missing? Gorgie Jang, who I don't know, he's like, later 30s, but that's it, right? Those are your four
Mhm.
dudes who are over 27,
Yep.
and everybody else is like 23 and under.
My boy Tommy Kuzi, who's actually how you
Oh
pronounce
yeah,
it.
that's
He
right.
looks 45. I don't know how old he actually
Tommy
is.
Cruise. He didn't get any minutes tonight,
No.
unfortunately.
We're saving him.
Our man James J says, "How did people watch the game? League Pass told me it's not televised." Man, I'm so sorry, because like if you pay for League Pass, I'm sure you'd be so annoyed like when seeing this, especially with all the Bally stuff going on. We're not even going to get into that, but for future reference, it's on the Spurs app, and so you can watch it on your phone. And if you have an Apple device, you can AirPlay that to like your streaming stick or your computer. So that's how I did it to watch it on my TV. The tip, it usually happens like after tip. So
Mhm.
you might be sitting there feeling like the game is already happening, but it's not. Just wait until you get the notification that says opening tip, and you'll come in a little late, but like you'll just miss like the first series, like the first possession. It doesn't really matter too much. And that's going to be for the Magic game as well. So if y'all want to watch the next game, be sure to download the Spurs app.
My app didn't work, but I used the rockets.com website.
Ronnie. See, there you go. But like if you and that's the thing, the link was actually on the Spurs website. Like it sent me to,
Really?
yeah, so I don't, maybe it's like that.
Hmm.
But I don't know. It says on the app, it says Spurs app. So it might be like you can only get the link through there.
Okay. Huh.
Um but yeah, our man Steven Moreno says Blake used the Parker floater. And it's
Mhm.
kind of funny. I was thinking about that. Obviously, let's this is not me crowning Blake Wesley as Tony Parker after today's game, because I want to make that very clear. But like just coming in as like a raw scoring guard. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's probably actually ahead of well, I don't know if he's ahead of where Tony is. It's hard to say because Tony's a Hall of Famer. But it seems like he might come in with a little bit more of just an emphasis on being a point guard, because that's kind of what he did at Notre Dame. Obviously, he was a combo guard, but when you're a combo guard, you take the ball up the floor, regardless of whether you're playing the one or the two. And that kind of goes back to what Mark was saying. I know in this game, honestly, I really didn't see it. I'm glad he did, but you saw it in the summer league against competition that really is kind of more indicative of what Blake can do at this point in his career.
Hmm.
So I definitely see kind of some parallels with that. But I don't think he'll be Tony Parker. But we love you using the Parker floater,
Mm.
and we love him kind of having that, you know, just kind of having that mentality. He definitely, like, regardless of how poor this game was, in all honesty, and it's a tough situation for him with it being his first game and Primo being out. Um, you can see just with the way that he plays, just his presence, you can tell that he's got, there's a reason we drafted him.
Yeah.
Our man GH says, "Let's go, great loss, 82-0 LFG."
Oh god.
uh
Fact.
hey,
Facts though.
we're trying to get it, and y'all got to go check out. There's two games this week where Victor Wembanyama is going to be playing G League Ignite, and the thing is, if we don't get Victor, we're probably going to get Scoot unless we get really messed up by the draft lottery. But even if you never know how the draft shakes out, and these two guys are going to be top 5 players in this draft, and that's probably where we're going to be in the draft. So tune in and check them out.
Hmm.
Let me see what our man Eric Pacina has to say. I was about to bet the over on Spurs wins. Glad I did it.
Nope.
Yeah, that was a good decision. Okay, I'm really glad Mark brought this up. Mark says, "What can you say about Eason's performance, dude?" Because I was like, dude,
I was thinking
freaking
about it.
Tari, man, like he's
Ugh.
killing us, and it's going to be a comparison between him and Sohan, and it's like if we really believed enough in Sohan to pick him at 9, like, and also he has more talent around him. That's the other thing.
Mhm.
But he played really well, dude. He
He
really
did.
did.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but I just kept telling myself, I was like, he's beasting on people that are littler than him and younger,
And it's the worst
and
team in the league,
it's the
probably,
worst team in the
most
league.
likely.
And he made me so mad when he scored on somebody. It wasn't Sohan, it wasn't
I
KBD.
know what you're like. There are so many
He
plays,
put
dude.
he put his hand down like,
Yes,
and
that
I
was
was like,
Blake Wesley. I'm
"Whoa."
pretty
Was it
sure.
Blake Wesley?
Yeah,
I
but it's
wanted
like
some.
also you're 4 inches taller than him, so of
This
course
is
you can do that.
preseason. I just wanted somebody to go deck him, bro. I wanted to see a fight so bad.
Dude, Devin almost dunked on, I forget who it
I saw
was.
that.
It went in anyway, I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure, but
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so it was, kind of sad because it was like, shoot. But at the same time, it's like at the end of the day, I think I'd rather have the three players we have than trading up, than having like I mean, we picked Sohan anyway, so it really takes it away whenever it comes to roster spots. But I think I'd rather have, those two guards in Branham and Wesley and Sohan than
Yeah.
like trading up and having both or drafting somebody different in 9 and having Eason. I don't know.
Dude, the past couple of years, the Rockets have been watching the Ethan on SSPN draft reviews because I remember I was like, I think we should draft Alperen Şengün or Usman Garuba, and they took both of them when we took Primo and whoever else or Wheezy. They've got
Yeah.
those two, and then this
We took
past
some
year
more
we were
shooting
like,
guards.
yeah, and we were both kind of like Tari Eason's pretty good, and then they took Tari Eason, so they're watching SSPN.
Yes. Oh, that's exactly. Yeah. Steven Silas is locked in right now for
Yeah.
sure. All right. Our man Aaron says, funny if the team gets good, Pop can just sub players out early. That's a good one.
Mm.
Our man Leon Too Cold says, I mean, the game was bad, but we still didn't have KJ on the court. And that's kind of what, to Ethan's point at the beginning of the show, when he said, like, we're going to be bad, and probably we'll be in the running. We'll be competing for the worst team in the league, and probably have a good chance to win. We still won't be as bad as it was tonight. When you get
Yeah.
KJ and Primo back, it's like, okay, everybody like on the team now has actually played like NBA minutes, where tonight and throughout the rest of preseason, a lot of people will have not.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see their progression throughout the year, but still, I think the key is like, let's not get too good, guys.
Yeah.
Mark says, don't want to add salt to the wound, but in 2020, we could have drafted Halliburton. In 2021, we could have drafted Sengun. And in 2022, we could have drafted Eason. Yeah. I think I'm actually cool with not drafting Sengun. I like Primo. I don't think we could have gotten him before Wee's camp. I think he was taken before then.
Yeah,
So,
he was late teens, I think.
yeah. So, yeah, I think it would have been a little bit of a reach for him at 11. But when you see him play, he does kind of feel like a Spurs. He's just the former Turkish League MVP. So the Spurs have, a lot of Euro basketball DNA kind of in them. So that makes him feel like somebody would be a Spur. And with Tyrese, that's just, a lot of teams missed on him, obviously. But yeah,
Mm.
that doesn't feel good at all.
I
Imagine you
think
have a backcourt of Tyrese and DeJounte. Like that would.
yeah. I think tonight has reignited my hatred for the Houston Rockets, Jude,
I know.
and my desire for this rivalry to be, back where it was back in the
Dude,
day.
they've got a freaking team, dude.
Because
And
they're
they've
not, I
just
mean,
got Jabari Smith. They're gonna be
yeah,
good, man.
they're
And
solid.
Jalen.
They're not going to be championship
Not
competitive.
this year.
Yeah,
Not this year. But
not for
like
a few
long
years.
term, they got
Hmm.
guys, man.
I hope by the time they are contending, we're like that team that's like getting into the playoffs.
So we'll be annoying and we can beat them
Yeah,
even
we
though
can
they're
knock them
a
off in the
little
first
right.
round.
2-7
Victor and
matchup.
Primo. Ooh, please.
We'll
Oh,
do it on the anniversary of the Manu Harden block.
yes. Like when Sengun hit was it Zach or that could have been Jakob with like a clean up and under early.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. And then he pushed. he pushed somebody on a free throw, like they were shooting a free throw, and we were just like, going through the motions of blocking out, because everyone knew it was going in, and Sengun just like shoved one of our guys in the back for no reason, and then
I want to say Sohan kind of did that to him though one time.
could have happened, but then what's his name also shoved Sohan.
He was probably talking to him.
Jabari Smith Jr. shoved him early, like
He
blatantly.
he shoved Eason a little bit too. But we love it. We love it.
He
We're
got
gonna
mad.
get blown out this year, but I love that Sohan's always like that,
Dude,
regardless of
he
the
was getting
situation.
pissed. I like Sohan. He was getting
I
upset.
I like it about him too. Let me see. Okay, and speaking of Sohan, our man Mansley, I don't know, says, or IDK, but I love Sohan's defense. He hyped me up with the chase down. Still happy the
Mm.
Spurs picked him. And see, that's the thing. Like, I really like, and this might just be our bias being Spurs fans, but I just, and maybe as the years go on, we'll end up questioning the people in these positions, but I just really trust their scouting department. Like, as long as Pop and RC are still running things, like, I just kind of trust that they see a higher ceiling with Sohan like than they do with like tonight. Tari Eason is going to look better, but like maybe 5 years from now, it's not, even if Tari's going to be a good player regardless, but 5 years from now it might be maybe homeboys on Sohan's on an all defensive team and is you know and is a consistent 3-point shooter.
Mm. At one
He's
point,
going to be like Sniper Draymond but better.
I just want to say, at one point, Anthony Bennett was better than Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let that sit in. Let that simmer.
I like that one. That one's good.
Well, they're both in the same draft.
Our man Aaron L says, was Trey Jones guaranteed his contract? I don't know that for a fact, but it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. And I think also with the way tonight went, I mean, maybe I'm not saying there won't be games this year where Primo starts, but I really think Trey is going to be the main starter.
Yeah, I do too.
He's just more of a pure point guard, and he's not 19 and has been in the league longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our man Leon is going to go see the Spurs in Charlotte at the Spectrum Center. That should be a fun one. Not to get off subject, but did you see some LiAngelo Ball highlights?
I saw his lowlights.
Yeah.
Poor
Step
dude.
back air ball, like nowhere near. Oh my god, the guy. Like before I say this, LiAngelo Ball is much better at basketball than I will ever be. But like, he was looking like me out there, man. Like,
Oh my god.
oh, it was funny.
Dude,
I saw some.
Go ahead.
Wow, we just jinxed ourselves. Anyways, no, but some of the caption was like LeVar is somewhere like screaming or something.
Oh my god. If I were LaMelo, I'd be like, bro, I've been getting you a contract every year. You have to play well. Like, they're gonna stop trusting me.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord. Well, any final takeaways from this one, Ethan? I kind of feel like it was just what it was, and we just
Yeah.
realized what this team was. And, I mean, like I said, it's going to be different with Primo and Keldon, and I'm excited to see what they look like. And if like our guys can just like, the guys that we're looking forward to for the future can just like play well individually for the most part, like, I think it's going to be that's really all you can ask for. Get better, have some progression throughout the season. Like that's really all you can ask for. Also, we're going to these dudes are going to stat pad. Like Jakob is going to be stat padding this season.
Please trade value up. Yeah. Final comments. Let's just shake off the rust. I think we'll be better in game 2. I mean, in reality, these preseason games are just a chance for Pop to see his rotations and see who's going to step up and who is going to be cut. I don't think it will have any bearing on our season. However, I still think we'll be the worst team in the league.
Yeah, I think it's just more reps.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. Just get everybody more reps, and hopefully it won't be like that every time. And if it is, it's just going to guarantee you the highest draft odds, which we're like, I was texting you and I kind of told you, we're like the Rockets like 3 years ago. We're like just starting though. We have some guys, but like we really, I don't know, unless KJ comes out. I mean, I believe in KJ, but like we don't have top 3 picks,
Yeah.
excuse me. Like and that's kind of what the Spurs are aiming for right now,
Yeah.
for the future, which they should be. And so with this team, let's just get them reps, get better every time, support them as much as we can because it's going to be a long season. But other than that, it is what it is. But
Mm.
if you enjoyed today's SSPN Live, don't forget to like and subscribe. That actually rhymed. I wasn't expecting that, but it did. And yeah, just go down there, hit the little like button. It helps us out a lot, and subscribe to the channel. That's all we ask. I would say follow us on Twitter at our old Twitter, and I haven't updated this yet. But actually, go follow our new Twitter that is straight SSPN. It was actually the first live stream on Twitter today. If you were in the Twitter comments for some reason, I'm sorry, we don't get those. They're only in YouTube. But if you were watching today on Twitter, we appreciate that. Just trying to grow the brand, grow the channel a little bit more. It's at SSPN on YT. On Twitter, you can go check out our live shows and just follow us. We'll post clips there. We'll do some tweets. I did some takeaways from what was it called? The media day, like when Pop was saying certain things, which translated a little bit today. Some of those did. So definitely go check that out. But yeah, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all, and we'll catch y'all on the next one.